Hi splashes, welcome back to my channel Splash of Prudencia. So on today's tutorial we are going to be learning how to cut this wrap top. Okay, so if this is what you're interested in, let's dive in. For this tutorial we'll be needing our shoulder, bust, waist, hip, round sleeve and our length measurement. Okay, so to start with, we are going to rule out our start line where we are going to begin all measurements from, and then we have a shoulder measurement of 16, so dividing it by 2 is 8, so we'll just add 0.5 for seam allowance and then place our tape at this point and go down by 8 inches. Okay, we might decide to later trim this up. So after marking this, whatever I have here, we'll transfer it down here and mark it. This is for us to get the armhole, so we are just going to connect these lines together and then divide our bust measurements by 4. So our bust is 34, divided by 4 we have 8.5, so we're just going to mark 8.5 at the spot and then add our seam allowance. I might decide to add 1 or 2, so I added 1 and I figured out it won't be enough, so I made it 2 inches because I'll be lining this particular wrap top. So adding 2 inches now, this is what we'll have. So I'm just going to straighten this line up. That is what will serve as the curve part of our armhole. So the length of this top is 15.5, so I'm just going to add 1 inches for up and down seam allowance, which is 16.5 in total, after which I'll divide my waist measurement by 4. So my waist is 32, dividing by 4 is 8, so I'm just going to mark my 8 inches and this down point and then add the number of allowance I added in this upper part. Okay, so I added 2 inches, so I'm just going to add that same 2 inches in this waist point also and then connect these lines together. Okay, so we're going to connect these lines together and then the next thing is to get the shape of our armhole. First of all, we'll be subtracting from our shoulder to get our shoulder slant. Okay, so for a wrap top we cut the back first before the front, unlike a normal top where you cut the front first. And for this wrap top there's no zipper allowance at the back, so we're just going to divide. First of all, we're going to subtract 0.5 inches for our shoulder slanting. Okay, so we're going to slant this up and then divide what we have left into 2. Just fold your tape this way and then mark what you have. So we are going to go in by 0.5 inches to get a comfortable armhole and then connect this up. So you might choose to use your free hand or a French curve, whichever method you find comfortable using. After which we are going to go in by 2.5 for our neck width, and then for the depth just do the little you can. Okay, because this is actually a high neck, so we don't want to go in much, so we're just going to go ahead to cut this out. Okay, so while cutting this out, you have to make sure you follow the accurate measurements, the lines. I hope you can see the part I'm cutting out from this. Okay, so after cutting this, I will go ahead to place it for the back, for the front part rather. So for this front part, this is what we'll have. So we are placing the part we have opened also on the part we have opened for this fabric we'll be using for the front part. Okay, so this is because we don't want this to look somehow. Okay, because this is a wrap top, so as you can see this part is open, so we're just going to go ahead and cut the front part of it. So for this front part we are just going to follow the same measurements, but this time around we'll be adding 6 inches to the width. Okay, this 6 inches is for this top to lap properly. So how I come about this 6 inches is that I just use my nipple to nipple measurement. Okay, my breast point, so this is what I use. So I'm just going to mark out this neck line here already existing on the back part of this fabric. And then for my neck depth, I'm going to be using 6 inches because I don't want the cleavage to be exposed that much. So if you want to show more cleavage, you can go lower than that. Okay, so we're just going to slant this up and then use this as a guide to trace it up. After tracing this, we're just going to connect from this point to the 6 inches we marked earlier. Okay, so we're just going to connect this up. So this is very easy. Okay, after connecting this, now we're just going to go ahead and then cut it out. Okay, so let's cut this out. So this is all we have after cutting it out. We are just going to go ahead to notch this point. Okay, that's the midpoint before the extra we added for the lap. So this is what we'll have. So I'm just going to go ahead and then cut the lining for every part of this fabric. Okay, so one thing you want to do is to place the notches together. Okay, see, by the time you're sewing, place the notches together and we'll be having something like this. Okay, so for me, I used to trim the lower part of this overlap part because you don't want it to have bulge. So I'm just going to place them together, make sure they are equal, and then slant it a little bit. Okay, I'm just going to go in by 1 inch from this side and then slant it to the point where I have my 6 inches for the overlap. Okay, slanting it, I'm just going to cut it. This will make the dress sit properly without having a bulge. So we're just going to cut this out. Okay, and this is what we'll have after cutting it out. So it might not look good now placing it together, but by the time you wear this top, you are going to understand what I did here. Okay, so this is very important. Take note of this. So this is already looking nice. So let me know in the comment section if you found this video helpful and the next video you want me to do. So this is after I cut out the lining and I went ahead to turn them out and iron them out. So we're just going to place them like this. So this is what it's going to look like by the time we are done sewing. So for now, we're just going to go ahead and then join the shoulders together, the shoulder line together. So if you don't have a lining, you can use a bias or then you fold it this way. Okay, whichever one you find comfortable, using the bias, using the lining, or folding it, anyone goes. Okay, so we are just going to turn this and then place them right sides facing each other. So we're going to join the shoulders first. Okay, just make sure this sits properly. Take your time to arrange them. We are just going to go ahead to re-notch those points we made earlier. Okay, so by the time you're sewing, you can take note of that. So when you're taking your measurements, you take it from this midpoint. The neck already is a v-neck, so our bust is 34, so dividing it by 4 is 8.5. so from this point we're just going to mark our 8.5 and then roll it out. Okay, so we're going to move downwards following this notch we made here and then fixing our waist measurement. Our waist is 32, divided by 4 is 8. So we are just going to connect these 2 points together after marking the measurements. So this is what we'll have for this part. We're going to move to the other part too and transfer the same measurements there too. Our 8.5 for the bust part and our 8 for the waist point, and then connect these lines together. So this is what we'll have after sewing the shoulder and the sides together. This is what we have for our sleeve, so we're just going to go ahead and fold it down and add our elastic band there. And this is what we have after joining the sleeve. So this is your overlap top or your wrap top. So if you want to add a band or a rope there, you can add it. Just measure what you have. So for this particular one, I added a flare. So if you want to know how I made this flare, you can watch my videos. And then please like, share and subscribe. Until next time, keep splashing.